Hello, I'm Catherine Sines, the president of the Rotary Club of Hudson. Rotary is a professional organization of a group of men and women who support Rotary International. We also join together by a common interest of service to our Hudson community, and we have a sincere desire to give back. We meet weekly on Wednesdays at Laurel Lake Retirement Community, 200 Laurel Lake Drive, in their dining room. We meet from 7:30 to 8:30 and would like to invite you to join us. For more information about Rotary, go to www.rotaryhudson.org. Enjoy the following excerpts from one of our recent meetings and consider joining us on Wednesday morning.
Good morning, Rotarians and guests.
Good morning, Ron.
Welcome to the Rotary Club of Hudson. I'm Ron Strobel, the Sergeant at Arms.
We have a couple of announcements, but before we start that, we're going to start with the service learning. So Jamie and Lonnie, if you'll come up. Oh, Lonnie's giving it up. Oh, you're going to make him do all the work. Okay, the heavy lifting. Good girl.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So apparently Lonnie passed this over to me. I'm not real sure why, but we did. I am going to be introducing these two young people, but I wanted to let you know you've seen just a small handful of our students so far this year. Cameron's in the back as well, and we really could have brought anybody, and that's kind of the coolest part is, although you've only met a few, we really could have brought just about anybody. So this morning we've got, who wants to go first? We'll let Jenny go first, and then she'll be followed by Jacob.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer Hoppus. Some of you might recognize me. I was here videotaping for a while with you guys. I really enjoy being here again. So my experience with service learning has been phenomenal, as I'm sure you've heard over and over again if you've talked to any of the students in service learning. My first semester site, I was with Hudson Montessori School System, and I have never had an experience with kids like that before. I thought I had been with kids before, but that was a whole nother level. Kids in Montessori schools, if you don't know anything about Montessori schools, you should try to sit in somewhere in a class. It's amazing to watch. It is so different from our public schools that we have in, say, Hudson City school systems, because the kids get to choose what they want to do during the day. And it gets them excited about learning, and they're learning when they don't realize it, when they're playing games. It's really interesting, and it made me want to become a teacher. So I love that site. And then this semester, I am at Crossroads Hospice Care. And I can thank Mrs. Banner for that, because in our midterm we had a what I'm scared about project, or like what I'm nervous about, or like what I don't like in the world. And so I had picked death with my partner. And so we had worked with hospice care through that project, and it made me more comfortable. But Mrs. Banner said, no, you should be even more comfortable. And you know what? As much as I was so scared to go, I love that site, and it has made me not afraid of the elderly population at all. And I was so scared, and it's nothing to be worried about at all. I know that sounds strange, but I absolutely adore the patients I talk with, because I'm there for companionship. And I love talking with them and learning about their lives, and they're so interesting. And they have given me so many life lessons to take away, like never forget to tell the people you love that you love them, and like walking is a gift, and like being able to like see the people you love every day is a gift, and knowing how to work a phone is a gift. And I love being there as well. So, but the biggest lesson I think I ever learned was when I went to Appalachia with our service learning trip a few weeks ago. That was the best experience of my life, hands down. And my first day, I went to Venture Productions. And if you've never heard of a place like Venture Productions, it's for adults with special needs. And it was the best place that I'd ever been to, the best company I've ever seen in my life. They let special needs adults go into the community and have a basketball team and go and do cheerleading and a dance troupe, and they let them sell market food, and we painted together, and it was just phenomenal. And it was so great to see how they could get a job and they can work and be integrated in the community. It was wonderful. So my service learning experience has been not so different from everyone else's in the way that it has truly changed my life for the better. So next year I'm going to Point Park University in Pittsburgh. to it's a small, very small art school to study theater, BFA in acting, and then I hope to get my master's overseas so that I can teach theater later on in life. Thank you.
All right, I'm Jacob Wilson, and my first semester site was at the Akron Blind Center, and I really got to learn and love the people over, help and love, and those people over there, because I wasn't used to the disabled people, and I was like, well, they're blind, so how can they ever see me? And what if I slip up saying like, hey, what are you guys watching? Then it's just like, oh, you can't see. Oh, don't look. But but I learned that those people at the Blind Center are very like funny people, and they're just like you and me. They just have a slight setback, and with that slight setback, all their other senses like heighten. And I learned that those people over there are tremendous people who've accomplished so much, even though they can't see. And my second semester site is at Cuyahoga Falls' Richardson Elementary School, and I help kindergartners. And this one was a tricky one because I thought this one would be an easier one, but it turned out to be a lot harder than the Blind Center. You seem to like underestimate children and what they can do, and whenever they're in that young age where they're not used to doing things for themselves, you really need to learn how to teach them and not show them what to do. So like tying their shoes, a lot of them don't know how, and so I'm just like, well, you gotta learn that on your own. You tie like a knot, and there you go. Or it's either that or just tuck into your shoe. I've had some great experiences over there, and trying to mold these minds to become better kids in the future. And ASP was great. I was at this Cherry Ridge Therapeutic Riding Farm, and over there, you would work with horses, and the therapeutic farm was to help those people who have like PTSD or have mental problems who need that in their life. And I thought it was great what they were doing over there and helping out the community, and bringing like horses to something that could be magnificent. And so next year, or this year, coming this summer, July 18th, I am going on my religious mission to Fukuoka, Japan. And I can't wait for this experience because I'll be going around through southern Japan and teaching the gospel. I go to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, so also known as Mormons. So I'm glad to be doing this, and I've committed through this since I was young. And after that 2 years, I will be going to the University of Utah. So that was
Does anyone have questions for either one of them? No? Thanks, great, thanks. And next, the gala. Ron and Gail's going to update us on the gala and what needs to be done.
The biggest thing we can do is pray for sunshine. It looked good, but the latest weather forecast doesn't, but that'll change. We've got a couple of days. Everything looks good. Everything's in baskets or certificates. We're well over 62.5, which was last year, so I can't give you a total number, but it's above that. A lot of great gifts. The website is up. since yesterday morning. And if you haven't gone on and started the bidding for the things that you want, now's a good time to do it. And if you don't want to look through the whole thing every time, you can just pick out your favorites, and it'll just tell you when you've been outbid on your favorites, so you can keep raising the prices. But everything's looking good. We've got everybody has offered to help, so that we've got all the slots filled for that, and we're looking forward to a great evening. Gail?
Indeed we are. Good morning, Rotarians. We always try to do things just a little bit better each year. So on the website now, you will see that we have put our sponsors up there intermittently as you scroll through the website to give them that extra recognition, and it's been done very well. Joe Avella, Joe took care of that. It looks fabulous. We also have Joanne Stores is one of our silver sponsors, and they have donated their table. So that means we have 10 free spots. A few of them have been filled already, but if you know of someone at last minute that you would like to invite to come, we do have room, is what I'm saying, because that table's already been paid for by Joanne's store. So I just wanted to put that out there. Let me know. I have to know today. Tom and I, where's Tom? We're working on getting the table seating arrangements today. So if you have any specifications, you need to let us know before 11 this morning. Right, Tom? Yep. Thank you. See you all Friday night.
And there are still tickets available. You can still go online, purchase your tickets. We've turned in a number to the Hilton Garden Inn, but we still have some seats that don't have names assigned to them in that number. So if you've got somebody else that wants to come, have them go to the site and buy a ticket. Thank you. Thanks to everybody.
I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a lot of fun. And before our program speaker, we have one more event, which is Fine Day. And I looked over there and saw him in those shorts, and I about choked there.
Oh, boy. Well, first of all, about my outfit, Evan McCauley, who is always snattily attired, is my hero. So I looked up a picture of him when he was at the academy and found one of his old outfits. So I was able to, I think this would be appropriate for the gala, except that you would probably want long pants. But for our fine day today, Brad and Chris will be collecting our fines. Our cause is the Children's Miracle Network, a partner that we're working with the gala, and they support children's hospitals, they support children's research, and also different programs for communities dealing with children's health. In the news, in the hub, normally we recognize all those people from our Rotary group that are pictured in the hub. Unfortunately, David, no pictures in maybe the last month, so please get out your wallet, pay $1. Gail, I did find finally an advertisement today for the Royster Group, so you are saved, but please pay $1 because you were going to have to pay it anyway. And Rich, tax season's over, so he doesn't care. He doesn't advertise anymore. Pay $1 over there. Okay. A fine for Joe Boisel, sitting back there in my absence, did a phenomenal job in regards to the fine master, and was voted on replacing me, but that's not going to happen, Joe, so pay $1. MIA last week, a really pitiful excuse from our President Catherine Sines, going to Alaska for a graduation, that's weak. And then getting stuck in an airport, that's even weaker. $2 for you. No pins, no badges. So if you don't have a pin or a badge, please raise your $1, and our lovely assistants will be collecting those. Members around town. This is kind of a new segment, just a couple of things that we have. I was driving down Blue Heron. Does anybody live on Blue Heron? Bill does? No, he doesn't. He forgot where he lives. Well, before I get to that, Joe, normally he has like a dozen pieces of bacon on his oatmeal. Okay, he pretends it's really, pay $1 for that, Bill, for sneaking around, and I promised I wouldn't tell Joe. Oh, Mike, you live there. Okay, I was driving down, I saw this brand new fishing boat in a driveway. This thing is spectacular. It is a beauty, and I think it belongs to one of our members. Mike, is that yours? It is. When did you get it?
It's a couple of years old.
Couple years old. How many people have been invited on a fishing trip with Mike? Raise your hands. How many people have been invited for a fish dinner at Mike's house? $1 for each one of those. Pay $2 there. That is a beautiful boat. My golly.
How many want to go for a fishing?
Yes. Hey. I think it could, fish and ski behind there, I think. Father Joe Boisel, his homily last week was related to this particular thing. And remember, this was on Mother's Day. It was from Genesis. And God promised men that good and obedient wives would be found in all corners of the earth. Then he made the earth round. And he laughed, and he laughed, and he laughed. Joe, pay another $1 over there. Bad Boys Table. One of the members over here still doesn't understand this, and had a discussion with his wife, and she asked him to go to the store. She said, could you please go shopping and get me 1 carton of milk, and if they have avocados, get 6. So this particular individual, now there's only 2 of you guys left, so it's got to be one of the 2 of you. Short time later, he comes back with 6 cartons of milk. She says, why did you buy 6 cartons of milk? Because they had avocados. You get it? They had avocados, you buy 6. Okay, you guys pay $1 over there. Bad Girls Table. We have we're missing a few members, but Chris is over there. Catherine, you and Joe can join that group too. One of these members went to the pharmacist, and the pharmacist said, ma'am, please understand, to buy an antidepressant pill, you need a proper prescription. Simply showing your marriage license and your husband's picture is not enough. $1 for all the ladies over there. Right. I normally walk around and I try to listen to the different tables because there are very philosophical discussions and intellectual things that are mentioned at many of the tables around here. But I walk past, where's Pat Shearer? He's over here with the kids. He was mentioning that to his table, is there ever a day that mattresses are not on sale? Pat, you got to pay $1 for that comment. George Schmutz with a safety tip. Where's George at? Back there. I read, if attacked by a mob of clowns, go for the juggler. These are things that were actually said today. John Adams, one of our new members. John's over here with that table. Years ago, I child-proofed my house, but the kids still got in. Pay $1. You got 2 great boys, and you said that comment there. As you know, Tom Page is a very political, and he's always very fired up. This morning he said he wanted to ban shredded cheese and make America great again. That's $1 for that one there. This one is irony of ironies. Jay Yard mentioned this one today. This table was very busy. A lot of good discussion over here. It was a news flash that he just heard. They're not going to make yardsticks any longer. Pay $1, okay? And lastly, at the Bad Girls table, again, Lynn Zupp, who's always a troublemaker over there. She checked into a hokey pokey clinic, and she turned herself around. Pay $1. Okay, question before we have our contest. Remember, we pit one half of the room against the other, but just as a warm-up, why did the teddy bear refuse dessert? He's stuffed. Because he was stuffed. Very good. Okay. Excellent job. She's on a roll. Pay $1. Okay, so we have half the room over here. Brad, you're collecting from this side. Again, the questions have been too hard. I tried to make them a little bit easier. And we've got Chris on this half. So here we go. What is so special about a violin?
Strong.
Bam. It's made of 70 separate pieces of wood. I thought you guys would get that one. Pay $1 over there. That's a very simple one. You guys are... Okay. Brad, keep going, because you guys are holding out their dollars. You don't want to miss any opportunities. Okay, on this side, you ready, Chris? Which animal is known to kill more people than plane crashes? Shh. Donkeys. You guys didn't know that? That was just in the paper, in the National Geographic. Okay, on this side. Oh man, this is not good. All right, here's another easy one. In the movie E.T., when E.T. walked, it made a noise. How was that sound made? A lot of you guys are movie buffs, so you'll know. They're paying their dollars already. Bam. Basically, someone took and put their hands in jelly and made a squishing sound. Again, I'm sorry. All right, final one. This is a piece of cake. You guys will get this one. How many eggs does a female mackerel lay at a time? These are...
A million.
Very good guess. 500,000. You guys are wrong. Pay another $1. Okay. Okay, here we go. Rotary birthdays. Pat, sure. On the 2nd, I think, was your birthday, correct? Yeah. Okay. Dave Swickhofer, is he here? Nope. His was on the 7th. Tom O. Page, what is O for? Huh? OCOT. Oh, my goodness. Very formal. On the 11th, Tom Page's birthday. And one of our youngsters, Stu Murray. What year were you born, Stu?
1922.
1922. 96 years of age. If he didn't win all those tickets for the top prizes, I'd be cheering for you. Let's sing for him here and really make it loud and proud for the big guy over here. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. How am I doing, Chris? Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you. We have Rotary spouses' birthdays too. Jim Ahern's wife, Jan, is that correct? On the 25th, she's 29 years old. You cradle robber. And Mary Sogan, on the 27th, she's 30. So those are done. Anniversaries. Doug McDowell, where are you at here, buddy? Not here. No, he's celebrating his 50th wedding anniversary. Doug said, again, a secret to happy marriage, 2 words. Yes, dear. Rotary anniversaries. $10 for each year you've been a member of Rotary. Bob Krampf, back there, 7 years. $70, please. Okay, we're reinstituting happy news. If anybody has happy news, pay $1 or $2 and stand up and tell us what's going on with you or your family. Any happy news? We got one right here. Evan?
My older brother Ryan just got married this past weekend in Arizona, so I'm really excited to have a new sister-in-law.
Very good. That's the kind of news we want.
When are you getting married?
Ooh. Father Joe.
Dietrich Boisel, our 4th youngest son of 4, is graduating high school. Mom and I are crossing the finish line.
Fantastic. My only wish for you is they all move back. Yeah. Anybody else? Right here. Mrs. Orr.
3 weeks post-op, left knee replacement, discharged from physical therapy. Tomorrow.
I think there's a marathon in your future. Liz? Oh, okay. All right.
I had a great Mother's Day.
Okay. Very good.
I'll throw one out. My third daughter got a job, so all three are off the payroll now.
Very good. Pay a bunch of bucks for that one. All right.
My son Robbie had a successful tennis season, Suburban League championship, and
That's right.
so
Are they still rolling? Okay, we have final note again for the gala. Dress appropriately. This is a gala, okay? Bring your checkbooks, your credit cards, and your cash. My quote, one of my sayings I had up on the locker room wall, none of us are more important than all of us. God bless. Have a great day.
Wow. How do you beat that? He's great. And the enthusiasm. Our service learning students started with all that enthusiasm, and Ed just kept going with it. Next is our speaker, and Bill Woolridge is going to introduce him. Thanks, Bill.
Good morning, Rotarians, and I'm not sure how to follow Ed Sogan, but here I am. I think many of you probably have had the same experience I've had and Joe's had of serving in public schools as a volunteer or in charter schools as a volunteer. We did it down in Akron. One thing that's very obvious is the degree of poverty that exists, and I'm talking about Akron now, but it's true in other schools. In Akron, here's a statistic for you. 91% of the kids in the Akron public schools qualify for the federal free lunch program and live in poverty. 91%. You know, it's really frightening because what you're seeing down there, I'm sure many of you know this, is a continuation, generation to generation, of poverty. It's called the cycle of poverty, and it's a truly frightening and horrible thing. And this morning we have with us Major Jackson. He's been with the Salvation Army in Summit County as our leader for about a year and a half. Came from Los Angeles. And what he's going to talk to you about this morning occurred, he actually did it out in Los Angeles and before that in Montana. It's a wonderful program, and it's oriented at breaking the cycle of poverty, and it's something that truly excites me because I think at long last we might have a way of doing it. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you Major Kevin Jackson.
Can everybody hear me? You have a microphone? All right, well, we'll use the microphone. Oh, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to join you this morning. I love my job and my vocation. My family's been in the Salvation Army for 5 generations, from a 5th generation Salvationist, and my kids will not be. Probably it doesn't look like carrying on the tradition. That's okay. My daughter is currently in college, and my son is an orthopedic surgeon in Toledo, Ohio. And that's part of the reason why we ended up here in Ohio. The Salvation Army is 2 corporations, and a lot of people don't understand that. There's a Los Angeles, a California corporation, and a New York corporation. And so east of the Mississippi, west of the Mississippi kind of thing. And we don't share anything, really. Personnel, resources, programs, we hardly ever even talk to each other. We do share this wonderful outfit. But that's about it. That's about the extent of it. And so my wife and I, about 20 years ago, I was sitting at a boardroom table in Los Angeles, and my boss was saying, you know, we've been doing this for a long time. How come things are not getting better? And I made a comment, and I said, well, we need to figure out a way to stop this intergenerational cycle of poverty. Kind of just shooting from the hip, adding to the conversation. And he said, okay, you do that. And I said, I kind of chuckled and said, oh, okay. But then I realized he was serious. And so he assigned my wife and I to do some research for a couple of years, find a way to really make an impact, especially on young people, on children. Please, you know what? I'm always so challenged by young people. Our 2 service learning workers in their story today. That stuff's great. You know, our young people actually getting involved in the community at a young age. The leadership that they work with should be really commended for that. That's very encouraging to me. I get our millennials get so bashed sometimes for not caring, and I find them to be an incredibly caring group of individuals. And congratulations. I went to the University of Utah for my PhD, so good luck with that. That's a great school. And so my wife and I did some research on developing this program, and what we did is we got rid of everything. We didn't want to bring any biases to, and don't get me wrong, when I'm sharing this, I'm not bashing 152 years now of the work that the Salvation Army has done. We've done some incredible things. We're in 132 countries around the world. We really put ourselves out there and make an impact in just about every corner of the world. But we felt like in North America we were really struggling. We were seeing, I started doing some research, and my research started with 1932, Great Depression, and we keep great records in the Salvation Army too. We keep everything. We just document everything. So it was easy to research, and I just randomly, our first program was in Billings, Montana, and I randomly went to our files and I said, give me 100 families randomly out of our that started working with us in 1932. And so our social workers pulled those out, their files out, and then I said, now in the last 2 years, give me 100 random families in our files. And we laid those documents out and we researched them, we looked at them. What we found was that a large minority of those families were still with us from 1932 to I think this was the year 2000, about when we started doing this. And so people came to us for help during the Great Depression, as they should have, but they never left. So generation after generation after generation, we realized people were coming to us and not leaving. And so part of the problem is we're part of the problem when we continue to offer assistance to families and not offer them real hope for the future. Now, there's nothing wrong with a box of food. There's nothing wrong with paying some utilities. We still do that. But we said we needed to be doing more. And so what we do is, when we came to Akron, Summit County, about a year and a half ago, at our first staff meeting, we announced that, look, the Salvation Army is no longer going to sit back on its hands and lose another generation of kids to poverty. That's our commitment. It was our commitment then. It'll be our commitment the day we ultimately leave. I retire in 10 years. I've asked the Salvation Army to leave us here for 10 years to really develop this program here locally as a pilot program for the Salvation Army nationally. And hopefully that happens, because we love Summit County. We just absolutely love Summit County and the people. I was in LA for the last 14 years, and I was very pleased not to drive an hour and a half to work every day and breathe air that I could see. And we just absolutely love it here. But our commitment is to make a difference. Let me share with you kind of what that difference looks like. So typically, we did a bit of a short study. This is a small case study on who was our client when we arrived here in Akron. It would have been a 25-year-old woman with multiple children, almost little or no education, more debt than she'll ever be able to pay off. Dual diagnosis almost in every case, some sort of abuse, mental illness in their life. And they walk into our office, and we're supposed to do what? We will never be able to help them with enough resources to pay off that debt. Educationally, we could try some things, but at the end of the day, the amount of resources that it would take to change that life dramatically was not a good investment of the dollars that the community gives to us so generously. And so what now our social service client looks like is 18 months old to 18 years old. So our youngest client, the perfect way to come into our program is to come into our program at 18 months old. That's when we start. And then at 18 years old is that young person who we've come alongside for their entire young life. We then transition them into the University of Akron, which we now have a full-time office at. And so we'll be waiting there to offer them assistance and guidance and support once they're in the university. We believe education is going to break the cycle of poverty. We believe that saying, you hang in there, here's a box of food, I hope it works out for you, is no longer a model that works, and we've carried that model out to the curb on garbage day. It just no longer works. Don't hear me wrong now. We still do food boxes, we still do a feeding program, we still do all of those basic needs programs, but they are secondary programs. Our primary program now is to come alongside young people from at-risk and marginalized positions in life where they find themselves and guide them and bring them along until we can get them a university education and they become good citizens and they become taxpayers and they become, they use the reciprocity that they received in this program, and after they become functioning members of our community, they start giving back to our community. And this is going to work. It has worked out west, and we're really excited for the possibility. Let me give you a quick overview, and I'd love to take questions too. Anytime you have a question, just raise your hand, and I do not mind taking questions. So an 18-month-old child comes to us until preschool. We don't teach in English now, we teach in 4 languages. We teach in French, Italian, English, and we count music as a 4th language. So as we're preparing children, at-risk kids for kindergarten, in Akron, the child from the margins enters kindergarten at the level, currently at the level of a 3-year-old, not a 5-year-old. Our goal is to have them to be at the level of a 7-year-old when they enter kindergarten in terms of local test scores. So linguistics is important. We teach the children learn in 4 languages. Every child will learn to read music. That's the one primary thing that's in every part of the program. It's a local Hudson person, Dr. Marlene Moses. Any of you familiar with her? She's a violin instructor up here. She just started last month our violin class. So we have a 3-, 4-, and 5-year-old children who have a full-blown violin course that they do 3 times a week. We're teaching coding to our preschoolers. Every preschooler in our preschool has an iPad. And they're learning coding. We're going to break the cycle of poverty by giving the children the resources they need to succeed in life. After they graduate from our preschool, which is our graduation is next week for our 5-year-olds who are entering kindergarten, we move our program to after-school evenings and weekends and all day long during the summer. We have a very robust theater program. We have a very robust music program, visual arts. Our theater program does 7 full-blown productions a year. Last year we did we did Lion King, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Christmas Carol, Shakespeare's Twelfth Night, and we're just getting ready to do A Music Man right now, and then we're ending the summer with Annie. And so our theater program is incredibly robust, and the kids just seem to absolutely love it. You can play any brass instrument, you can play any classical guitar, you can play violin, cello, you can play whatever you want. You can do whatever you want inside the bounds of our program. The one thing that holds it all together, though, is farming. Farming, everybody does. We just hired an accountant last year. The last question I asked them in the interview was, what do you feel about farming? Because you will be farming as a part of your job as our comptroller. And so our farm is located, we do outdoor farming, but I think the special part of our program is our indoor 21st century farm. It's on Romig Road, the famous Romig Road, the place most known for urban decay and decline and suffering in humanity in Akron is where we chose to put our indoor farm. It's 18,000 square feet. It's an Ohio State University system, which I have to be cautious about that, because I'm a University of Michigan guy, and I apologize. I know this part of the country that never goes over real big, but and I'm a huge Jim Harbaugh and University of Michigan football fan. I just am, and but I am in Ohio, and I serve in Ohio, and so go Buckeyes. And yeah, a painful move. I have to keep that quiet in my family and among my friends. I don't hang out my University of Michigan flag at my house, though, on Saturdays anymore. And I had a neighbor who did that, and he regretted it. And apparently. And so we bought Ohio State University agricultural system, 21st century system. Our phase 1 just got dedicated, and it's opened up. We go from seed to harvest in 4 weeks. So our children grow 3,500 heads of lettuce a month. And it goes from seed, we plant the seed and we harvest it, sometimes less than, sometimes it's 3 weeks, but we give ourselves 4 weeks. So we're doing 11 and a half harvests a year at our farm. We also have 1,000 tomato plants. Our tomato plants grow year-round, and they're they're currently at 10 feet tall. They'll max out at 15 feet tall. So we produce 80,000 pounds of tomatoes and about 40,000 pounds or 40,000 heads of lettuce a year. And the children, what they do with that food, we have one employee that does all of this. It's computer generated, it's computer run, so it's constantly monitored. If the pH level goes up, the computer tells the system to lower the pH level. If the nutrients is off, the computer adjusts the system and it feeds the plants right. It's the perfect temperature with the perfect lighting, and the kids run everything. The kids run everything. We have one employee doing that. Now what they do with the food is we've signed on with Junior Achievement to give the kids a business curriculum. We start the business curriculum at age 3. So our kiddos are learning how the world works at age 3, and we carry that through to 18. We also use 4-H curriculum in terms of agriculture, and then they just simply learn how to do business. We have a farm board of experts in the areas of food processing and marketing and accounting, and our children have to answer to this farm board. They meet with them monthly to lay out their plans. The children do absolutely everything that's involved in this process. This is going to break the cycle of poverty because it's giving the children 16 and a half years by the time they hit college for a child who's, most of them, their parents and grandparents have never had a checking account. Most of their parents and grandparents have never had a checking account. They'll have a financial portfolio as they're entering into the University of Akron as an incoming freshman. They will understand how money works. They will understand how the world works. What we do with the food that we grow. Half of the food they grow, which is a lot of food, goes back into the community through our food baskets, our pantry, our daily meals that we serve. The other half the children market and sell, and then everything that we get in return for the proceeds for anything they sell from half of that goes into an endowment for the kids. That's how they're going to pay for college. So they're actually earning these resources it's nothing the matter with a handout occasionally, but it's not a system you want to go into, please.
Who's buying the food?
Right now, Bo's Restaurants is our first contract. Both Bo's Restaurants, the one at Hilton West and Sheridan Suites. We're just starting a conversation with the Schwab facility out in Richland. They have an employee kitchen. We do some community-supported agriculture, individual contracts with people. And then next year, this time, I'm not supposed to say this, but I'm going to tell you. I got my people. Don't say that yet. Don't say that yet. We don't have a signed contract. We'll have a signed contract. Acme Stores is going to be our big customer going into 2019. Please.
How do you deal with like day-to-day dysfunction in families that really would kind of disrupt a child's ability to learn?
Yeah. Great question. And so we're partnered with Akron Public Schools on this project. So they've identified 2,500 children who need us and who need this program. And a part of that conversation and what's in development now are wraparound services for the families of the children in our program. And so we have a staff of social workers who are retooling what their day looks like to actually will be in Akron Public Schools. We'll have office time in Akron Public Schools to meet with families, to go through issues, to look at other, because there's not much a 7-year-old child can do when mom and dad are heroin addicts. They can't do much about that. But we can help and bring that family along and assist that family. We've had some really good success with that. Aspect of working with the kids, these wraparound services for the whole family out west, and it looks like we're going to have a really strong program here. We're just in the initial stages of that as we kind of transition out the old Salvation Army model and this new model in. It's an excellent question, though, and it came up very quickly as we started this program. Please.
As a graduate of the 4-H program, a big part of that was record keeping. Learning
Yes.
how to keep track of different things. Are the kids doing that on computers?
Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming this is a hydroponic system.
It is a hydroponic system, and we just signed an agreement with MIT is coming in to help us with this. We also just signed an agreement with NASA to help come in and do engineering in there. So the children aren't going to only be growing food, they're going to be designing and improving the system that they already have. We just received our 3D printers so the kids can actually prototype. We've got a staff of engineers who are working with us. But record keeping is very, very much a part of the basics of life, aren't they? Where would we be if we didn't know how much we had in our checking account? Where would we be if we didn't know what we had for retirement? These are all basic principles that the children start learning at a very young age. We are bringing this program to the north part of Summit County too. Twinsburg, I just met with Eileen Shapiro 2 weeks ago, and they're looking for space out here in the north part of the county to bring this program out here.
Where are you getting your seed money?
You know what? With no hesitancy at all. I've been in the Salvation Army my entire life, for 5 generations, my family. I've never seen the level of giving that we have here in Summit County. It's incredible. What we do is we have a development department, and they go out and they let people know what we're doing, and people are funding this program. I think we've waited far too long I think people are tired of saying, I'm going to just continue to support a system that doesn't seem to make any sort of transformational change in the lives of the people we serve. But I think people are willing to pull out their checkbooks and their wallets and say, wow, if we can really break the cycle of poverty and within the community, there's something we can get behind. But
where are you having your plays, Annie, and all that?
We have two stages right now. One is at 190 Maple at the Salvation Army facility. That's one of the stages. The other one is Romig Road. We have a black box at a Romig Road facility. So we have 2 stages. Sometimes we'll have 2 plays going on at once. So in terms of numbers, we have 256 children in the program. And this first year, we're not even into it 1 year. We'll have 400 by the fall. We'll have 2,500 children in the program 3 years out, is what the plan is. We work very closely with Akron Public Schools on this, and they get tired of not being able to spend their time educating the children and working on all of these social issues that the kids are dealing with. So they're pulling us in, the Salvation Army in, to be very much more than just a partner, almost weaving us into the fabric of what the public school system looks like there.
We're on TV, so that's why.
Oh, okay.
Respecting the microphone here. So in addition to financial needs, which I'm sure are still always important.
Substantive.
Yeah, and because it's going to take a lot of money to go from 250 some kids to 2,500 kids.
Yep.
What sort of volunteer opportunities are there for people in our community, this group of people?
Yeah, limitless, really, because of the complexity of the program. It offers up, if you're obviously have any capacity in music, theater, musical theater, the visual arts, engineering. When we did the ribbon cutting at our opening event a few weeks ago, the kids, a group of 3-year-old girls, developed a robotic arm that reached out and cut the ribbon on it. So the kids just eat up robotics, but robotics are expensive, and hydroponic farming is expensive, and classical guitars and tubas and theatrical productions are expensive. What we're doing is we're taking our resources that we just seem to keep handing out, and now we're taking those resources and we're investing them in instruments and productions and teachers and education. You have to have a master's degree to be on my staff. We prefer a PhD. And we do national searches for our program directors. And so unless you have an MFA, don't apply to be a teacher a paid teacher at our program. We have the bar very, very high. But there are limitless opportunities to volunteer. In agriculture, both indoor and outdoor, early childhood education, literacy is huge. We have a large literacy program as a part of this program. And so you can get involved in just about any area. It pretty much touches on just about everything. The only thing we don't have is a swimming pool. And well, maybe we need to work on that, Bill. But other than that, we can find a spot for you to volunteer at numerous levels. We have about 6,000. We have a need for about 6,000 volunteers a month when we hit stride next year. That's the level of volunteerism that we have. In the program in Billings, Montana, we had 8,000 volunteers a month in our facility. That's an unduplicated count. We partner with the University of Akron. We'll start partnering with Kent State here pretty soon on a few things. And I guess at some point we'll reach out to Ohio State and get their involvement. And we were in Columbus just on Monday, and I talked to 3 OSU agricultural specialists there on the faculty, and they're going to be helping us out. So. Any other questions, please? Please, sir. Oh, we have a microphone, right.
You may have explained this, but how are children chosen for this program?
Excellent question. A lot of them are self-selected initially because we've had youth programs going on. So we had about 100 kids who were already working with us. So those 100 kids just, for the most part, assimilated into the program. But through APS, we get a lot of our kids coming to us through the school district, through referrals, and that's primarily word of mouth, though. When you got a program like this, now the cost for a child is $35 a week, and we're firm on that. You have to pay $35 a week, but with that comes any musical instrument you want to play, professional instruction. You can be in the productions. You can be in the engineering. All of the equipment, all of the curriculum. So the $35. But so when people go, well, what about for the child who can't pay $35? Well, no child's going to be kept out of it. But we're pretty firm on. Giving away things for free. Well, after 150 years, we figured out how not to break the cycle of poverty by giving things away for free. It just doesn't do it. And so our kids come to us by that, and we do feel like the family needs to come up, and we work with anybody. We don't kick people out because they can't pay, but we try and get people to commit to the. Is there another?
I assume that you have outreach to the business community, and I wondered how your success was with that.
It's going well. We still have a ways to go. Had a meeting yesterday on that very question in terms of corporate partnerships, and my staff brought me a list of 50 companies that we want to contact, not just for financial resources, but just human resources and as well. And it's come along. Our first main partnerships were the University of Akron and the Akron Public School, the state of Ohio, and so we went kind of larger in the first year, and now in the second year we're looking more to local businesses, although there are some already on board with it.
It sounds like you're taking a lot of measurements of this.
Well, moment by moment measurements.
So at some point in the future, say you are successful, maybe even beyond what you thought, what happens then? What are the political implications? What happens then if you're in 5-10 years, all of a sudden you find this is a phenomenal program?
Yeah. I guess we win. I don't know. Boy, I would love, you know what success would be? Success would be I'd have to go out and start selling insurance. That there was no need for the Salvation Army anymore. That's what success would look like, in part. But to be more serious about your question, we do have an institutional research director, and we do moment-by-moment measurements just about on everything. And I can't believe the level of assessment that our staff has put together. And that's critically important because we want to make sure the decisions we're making, the programs we're doing, are in fact effective. And then we use that as well to approach granting agencies and funders. You know, here's not just a nice talk to convince you to help these children, but here's some great analytics to demonstrate how we're doing. Success to us is when that child walks across the stage on graduation day at the university and gets that baccalaureate degree. That's really what success looks like for us. And so we've got a ways to go, but it's a great question, and it's one certainly So what happens then? Because the Salvation Army started that way. The guy that started the Salvation Army wasn't planning on it being like this. He thought it was a little small neighborhood program, and then the next thing you knew, all of a sudden it was all over the world, and he never thought that out. And so it's a great question, and one that we deal with a lot. So where are we going, and how are we going to get there, and what happens when we get there?
So,
Please.
very exciting plan for Summit County.
Right.
Tell me, maybe I missed this, other communities that the Salvation Armies are in? Is this the same program going in throughout
we're the pilot.
Eastern Corporation?
We're the pilot.
Okay.
And it's starting on small levels. There's a program up in Maine, a program in Pennsylvania, and one in New Jersey. I'm also working with the Salvation Army in Australia and Western Canada.
Okay.
What are the very, and as our program kind of developed, we kind of defined it and out of that, one of the programs that we have out at Romig Road is we're starting a coral farming operation where the children are going to actually farm coral. It's called microfragmenting. And they take just grains of coral and they plant them in seabeds. And then after that coral grows, to be about the tip of your pinky, it's harvested, and then the children, we're working with the University of Sydney in Australia, some of the kids are going to take that coral, take it down to Sydney, go out on the boat where scientists will go and embed that coral on the Great Barrier Reef, which is currently dying. And so our kids are actually involved in saving their community, saving their own lives, but also helping around the world. NASA just signed on with us. The kids this summer they're already making plans for Mars. And so they've developed a program for our kids. Since we're farmers, since we're high-tech farmers, our kids this summer are actually going to start engineering a system, a very basic system. Don't get me wrong here. We're not putting this up in space anytime soon. But there's at a very basic level, NASA's designed a system for us, for the kids to come up with a system of how to move water from one place to another place using solar energy, because that's how they're going to have to grow on the surface of Mars. And that it's our kids, their hope is that our kids that are involved in this program will go on through the university and then end up working on this program as an adult. And so it's very futuristic in some ways. But you tell a kid we're going to learn how to farm, some of them go, You tell a kid we're going to learn how to grow food on the surface of Mars, they go, oh, okay, wait a minute, this is very interesting. And so one of the important things that we do is we try and partner with the best out there. NASA, MIT scientists are coming. They'll be in town next Wednesday. I'm meeting with 3 MIT scientists, and they're coming in and looking at our growing system and going to offer up some opportunities to improve on that system potentially, that sort of thing. So pretty exciting stuff. And you know what it is? At the end of the day, the most important part of it is, gosh, I'm your longest speaker ever, I bet. No, okay. And there is nothing more important than to see our kids growing and developing and tangible hope. Let me end with this story. Had a 7-year-old boy who was so proud of something that he had made in the robotics class. And he was walking it out after, he'd been working on it 4 months, and he was walking it out. Look at Major Kevin, look what that's great, that's great. And a parent, doesn't matter if it was a mom or a dad, a parent came and picked him up, and he said, I'm going to be so excited to show this. And he walked in and said, hey, look at this, look at this. And the parent said, go get in the effing car. Kids worked on it, 7 years old, more discipline probably than I have to build a robotic arm. And go get in the car. Could care less. Now, please, don't hear me wrong. Not all of our parents are like that. Some of our parents are like that. And as we're going on, I'm witnessing this, I'm thinking, I hate even sending him home today. But he turned around and he looked back at me at age 7. He's already figured life out, and he goes, it's okay, Major. It's okay. I got this. I got this. You know, our kids are really have a lot of capacity, and they're buying into this, and they absolutely love it. And their school attendance is not an issue for any of our kids. You don't go to school, you don't come to the program. It's that simple. So with that, tangible hope for kids. And it's working, and it's going to work, and we're going to break the cycle of poverty here in Summit County. We're going to do that. Thank you very much.
you very much. I think there's always, we see our kids and we hear other stories, there's a hope for tomorrow. And, you know, everybody worries about the next generation. I think there's a lot of hope for our next generation. Thank you. I want to wrap up the program, but special thanks to our greeter, Bob Cramp, audiovisual crew, Dan Rich, Tom Page, Tom Tobin, James Field, and Ron Barnhouse, and special thanks to Cameron for doing the video. Thank you very much. And I would like you to draw the winning ticket, if you would, Major.
Oh, it's Bill Aldrich.
No, it's not that easy. The last four numbers are 6118. Ah, great. Someone won last week, right?
We did.
Because there's no black in there?
It figures I would win after somebody took that pot.
The number is $14 for today and $114 for the jackpot. Gee, I got a good call for you.
Yeah, I was wondering how you're going to do that. There you go.
Oh, no.
All right.
Oh, wait a minute.
Thanks.
And one I've used before, but which is appropriate for today. Some people make the world special just by being in it. And thank you, Major.
Back in.
Oh, he's donating his $14 back in. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. Have a good week.